playback.
You said streaming.
All right, so
Don't bitch at me for doing what you said.
I'm not bitching. I merely face palmed. I meant
your stress levels are only going to buy you so much.
I meant the stream on the YouTube video or on the Twitch feed there.
And that's all just gone out.
Awesome.
Marital strife in War Machine.
Damn it! How come I can't? I hate how the Facebook app won't just let me.
So should I open my bottle of wine at 8 and see if I can finish it by 9?
Well, actually, we're gonna have to.
Oh my god!
Death clock on the wine.
You might need to be mildly sober for this.
Shit.
We're gonna have to do our Game of Thrones beer.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a glass for George as well? There's 2 glasses, so
I got all kinds of glasses.
Let's get another glass for George.
Do we want
Can you just share it on the Moosmachine page as well? Are you on George's Facebook? Just go ahead and share it on the Moosmachine page.
Oh, it was fighting you?
I just trying to do Facebook on your iPad is always trying to do your pages stuff on an iPad.
Do you have the pages?
Yes. The problem with Facebook is that pages doesn't means that it opens up another fucking app, and then what you were trying to do on the one, because I was just trying to share the post because you have the link embedded in the post. It's just like screw this shit.
Oh, Marc Andre just offline side face.
Don't worry, we'll be back online any moment now.
I think we are actually back on.
Yay!
Are we streaming?
Okay, guys, we will be... Actually, there should be a splash page that says podcast will begin at 8 o'clock. Isn't there a splash page that we already did?
I think so. Sounds like the type of thing I would do.
Yeah. We should remember to use that because it's handy.
I think I put the wrong time in the post that I just shared everywhere.
Just say logging now.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
Would you put... I'm just going to... do this quickly. Sorry. Oh.
Live. 3 viewers.
Hi guys, we will be live at 8. Which is not that far away, really, in the grand scheme of things.
No.
15 minutes. That actually, even though we had to reset everything, it was not that good.
Okay, this is vaguely creepy.
What, watching yourself?
I'm watching myself in the
15
past.
seconds ago.
I can wave to myself. Oh, I can't anymore.
Past?
Hi guys, we will be...
I have to edit my privacy for the post I just made.
What?
I have to add some exceptions to the post I just made.
Nobody from work.
Yeah.
Nobody I'm related to.
Yeah, I have a list for relatives.
This is so my brother. Love my brother to death. But he sends me an email. Yo, bro, can you suggest a good kayak that will track well, is super comfortable, that I can use for fishing, and that is not too expensive? So I send him one. $1,000, holy shit! I need to feed my family. I'm like, then why did you buy... That is a cheap kayak, dude.
That is a cheap
Yes. Oh my god.
If what you're looking for is a family deal, guess what? I don't have those. Love my bro, but he's an idiot.
Aren't they all?
Pretty much.
Mine also is not watching, so fuck yeah.
He should be. He's nerdy enough to watch. Although he doesn't play War Machine, does he?
Nope.
You know, do you sometimes regret getting me into this game, George? Because
No.
you see what I've done?
This is awesome.
Because I don't even know if you'd still really be playing that much now. I mean, your PG-ness means that you would...
No, I would be playing just as much, but
this is beginning... This is like... My OCD is making this whole thing ridiculous.
It's
and
kind
the
of
fact
nice.
that poor Vit is
Well,
about to leave
yeah.
our lives, we do have to start another chat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
should
like War Machine
get
shit.
Russ and Tom in on the other one, so...
The problem is, what are we going to ever talk about in the other
Yeah,
chat?
that was just
Yeah, Vet's going to be like, you guys motherfucking
But the
started
only
another
reason I
chat,
don't
didn't
post
you?
more in our chat is because really the only thing I have to talk about,
Is
like
War Machine.
with you guys
Yeah.
on a daily basis, is War Machine. If I want to talk about my bullshit day and
Yeah.
what porn I watched this morning, I'll just talk to June.
Yeah.
That went
Healthy
out.
relationship.
That went out on the stream. I love
It
it.
did. Luckily, I don't think she's gone anywhere near this stream.
No.
No,
just
they're
kidding.
Although
piffing,
Marla does watch it.
they're piffing her the
Marla-
tonight.
Marla-
So.
I'm
Marla would-
only kidding about the porn thing.
My wife I'm not gonna know.
Yeah.
She wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
She can't see you, so
She encourages
go ahead,
it.
chug that.
Pass that over, man.
Puff, puff, give, motherfucker. Puff, puff, give.
Oh, I wish. You can't see us right now. Goddamn swamp gobbers.
Yes,
we have
that is
concealment.
what generating the smoke.
That would be awesome.
Oh no! Well,
Somebody needs to
So
convert swamp gobbers over so that they've all.
So the one person in
have-
chat is going on about how
So-
this is excellent.
have you?
This is bonus Blu-ray footage, and are you aware that was live?
So you have heard of the?
Totally, that's why we're doing it.
You
Yeah.
have heard of the new podcast?
Hello.
Guts
I
the
need to
visit.
pee.
Oh, give me a baby.
Baby.
Give me a baby.
Baby.
I want a baby.
Oh, I got a baby.
Don't drop the baby.
I won't drop the baby.
Again.
Right back.
Again. For the third
Or they'll
time.
turn out like George.
No, that was Will I dropped.
This is my new large base model.
Still,
It's okay, they
so
can't
I
see
saw.
it.
Yeah.
So
Roll
there,
with the
I
spot.
saw in Pet Value they had a little dinosaur costume for a dog
Yes.
that was
Oh
purple
my god. Nice.
and blue, and all I could think was Shredder Dog,
Shredder dog.
Awesome.
because I got a dog coming on the 25th.
Who's a sleepy baby?
He's gonna have to come to a con dressed up as
Shredder dog.
Yes, but then you have to dress up as a Legion caster.
Tinkerbell could totally go
kinda
as a
classy.
Shredder dog.
So after my whole week of troll OCD, I think I've decided I'm just going to play the crap out of Circle for the next year. I think I realize what it is, man. It's total. It's
Hordes.
I just need to play some hordes in general.
Hordes is good. Like,
I enjoy it.
Missing that fury mechanic.
Yeah, and going over the circle mechanic. The thing I liked about trolls was generally the tactics were simple.
Yeah.
It was
You can't
Trolls,
do this or
brick.
this or this.
yeah, my brick. Try to beat my brick.
Yeah.
Here's some spells
I
I
have the
cast.
problem you need to solve.
Yeah. Whereas Circle still has that same thing I have to do with Signar, which is, okay, I have the solutions for everything, and I can teleport.
Yeah.
Which I'm very bad.
Oh, in the internet hates Party Foul news. Did you see that Party Foul is starting a new
Oh, they're
podcast
Yeah.
about getting stoned and playing War Machine? Apparently.
I would
No.
be awful at that. I can't even remember the rules when I'm sober. Like, holy shit.
Well,
Why do you play sober?
that may be your
Actually,
problem.
that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You might be
I don't know if I ever have.
No, and then
For all we know,
maybe
you're a
we
fucking
get.
savant at this shit.
I don't think I ever have played sober.
Like, seriously.
Oh.
Holy crap!
Holy crap.
Because like, you have a beer when you walk into the pub, so...
I've usually had a few before I get there.
Oh, that changes things. I was going to say, you're not going to be drunk off of one.
Oh yeah,
Right.
walks is in walking distance.
That's usually my third or my fourth.
Burgeoning alcoholism. It's a
Burgeoning. I've been supporting alcoholism since my early teens.
That is a confused looking child.
Yeah. When
Who
I
are you?
open,
Where's my mom?
That is a really fucking bright light, Dad.
it's super bright, isn't it?
Quit that shit.
You must quit that shit.
So we're 12 out.
Yeah, we're about 12.
Not too bad.
So tonight's whole thing, this is going to be our first focused podcast. Even our quiz questions are tournament oriented.
Ooh.
It's going to be
Uh-oh.
a big deal.
I don't have the boob.
Ask
I don't have the boob.
Ask the chat if...
No boobs here.
No boobs
Boobs
here.
are here.
And Mom's
Yay!
like,
Oh,
and
there's
you're
mommy
done
with the
child.
boobs.
There we go.
There's mommy with the boobs. You got her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have fun, guys.
Always.
Thanks. Ask the chat how our audio is, by the way.
Yeah, we've got a
That's
different
right.
setup tonight.
Trying setup number 8.
Yeah. I
In our
never-ending quest.
to have
To
Reddit
have decent
not
audio.
comment, to have Reddit not comment on
On
our
how our-
terrible-
Oh, that
audio
won't
sucks.
happen.
I'm seriously considering some googly eyes for the top of this mic.
That would be
Honestly,
yeah.
if this audio turns out good, which I'll know tomorrow, because I mean, it's all about me and the podcast. You may not notice how bad the audio is because I filter that crap out of it.
Well, as I said, I may have never actually listened to our
You
podcast.
should. You should.
I
Okay, so the guy who's on says that our audio is perfect, and he's usually the one who complains the most.
Is that Brad?
It is Brad.
Brad! I knew it.
Brad just got a ret. He's
All in one?
getting it tomorrow. He's getting a
All in
ret
one
battle
box?
box tomorrow.
Is he coming to Iron and Blood?
Blood
Blood and Iron.
He's just starting, guys.
So?
He's new.
So am I.
Spend your
He's been playing longer than I have. No
your-
fucking excuses, Brad!
Spend your $5. Come play in Iron Arena.
Yes.
That's true.
$5 for 2 days of War Machine is a fucking deal.
And if you play an Iron Arena for 2 days, you're guaranteed to walk out with some new stuff. And there's some
Maybe a print, maybe some.
do we get-
measuring
Come
templates.
on, Brad.
Come on, Brad. Don't be a pansy.
Don't
You
push
can
out
hang
on
with
us.
us eventually.
Something about travel. What, you aren't local?
So,
Anyway,
something international
isn't Banky
flight
going?
something.
So what are the Iron Arena? What are the goodies?
Yeah,
Well, we don't
Goodies?
know all of the goodies yet.
Are there participation badges? Cause
No.
Damn
No,
But
but I got a die for
basically-
playing in like 3 games. Like I got like the 10-year horde guy from So
Apparently,
there's, like,
I'm not sure whether Chris
Sweet.
himself is coming, but somebody from Chris's meta is coming. Chris Orr is the PG for Guelph.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And he got all the dice.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
And so he's like, "Are you going to Blood and Iron?" And I'm like, "I'm running
Running
Blood
Blood
and
and
Iron." And if you want to just send all the dice to me with the list, I can hand them out. He's like, "Oh, that would be awesome."
Yeah, you saw the whole thing where they were about to send them. They had them all ready to make
Yeah, and
them.
apparently they're like an eighth of an inch too big.
Yeah, well, because you have to slide through. They have to prove that you can slide through a mailbox slot.
Ah.
And in the packaging, they were fine apparently before the packaging, but in the packaging, they won't go through the mail slot.
Oh no.
So, anyways, long story short, so we've got prints are one of the prizes.
Prints, measuring tools, wall templates, zone sets. Well, assuming I get the right emails tonight. Zone
Those
set.
are going to be prizes.
Well, some of them are going to be prizes. Some
Gotcha.
of them are going to be sold.
Yeah.
I'm going to get. I think I'm going to have 16 sets
Apparently
total
there's,
made up.
Musa mini circle tokens and some. Depends on how quickly Will pays me for that bullshit.
Assuming the Canadian government doesn't fuck us at the border.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
That's right.
the one thing
That's
that
a
could cause this whole thing
Giant leap.
to go into fucktown is that I get this stuff on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if that
Well,
happens, though,
worst
we
comes
sell
to
it.
it, yeah.
It's not that much.
You're
stake,
getting rid of
really.
it one
But
way or the other. It
Yeah.
just
You
might
put
take
it
a
out on
little
the
longer.
OGWC and everybody buys it as
Yeah.
fast as they, and they thank the maker because they didn't have to fight everybody else to get to it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
that's
wasn't
part
brought
of
up.
it.
Was it last time the Kingston guys almost everyone from Kingston went home with at least one set of the little tokens.
Yeah.
And everyone from Ottawa assumed they could buy it the next day. And we're like, no, guys, we're sold out.
Yeah.
It's
No,
gone."
they're
I didn't care about that at SOO. I was saving up to make my pirate list, and it was awesome because the freaking pirates didn't sell at all.
until right at the end.
Right at the end, I was just like, okay, here's my skulls. Give me all the pirates you got. I was like, we got a lot of them, Will. I'll take them all.
I got one die. Because all I could play was Speed Machine because I was on the computer like every day, all day.
Yeah.
That do we have like a little? I should do something for Russ. I don't have time to paint him something now that he's
What?
going to be on the computer all
Just
day.
offer to paint
Well,
more
the
of his
thing I was
stuff.
going to do for SOO is next year. My thinking is I will do up a nice model for each of the people that have to work on the computer as my little thank you to
That
the
would be
people
cool.
who
That's a
did
very
SOO.
nice
But
thank
we
you.
can do that for Blood and Iron next year. We'll
Yeah.
do like
Well,
something along
I
those lines.
don't know whether this event will even happen next year. I don't know whether it will be Blood and Iron, it will be CGX, it will be. I don't know whether I will get a War Machine Weekend invite again after this. Just,
Well,
I'll tell you one thing. It will not be.
50 competitors is not bad though.
I'll tell you one thing. It will not be. It will not be on Labor Day weekend.
No.
Yeah.
That's why you aren't getting me.
I know that.
It was a lot of people.
I know
going
that
away.
there are at least 15 to 20 people
Yeah.
that I personally have talked to that are away, are at weddings, at family events because this is the last summer weekend, right?
Yeah. It's going to be a shitty weekend, though, too. It's actually not going to be a bad weekend to be stuck indoors. And we have no internet, you said. And we
May or
figured
may
that-
not have internet.
So we're going to
Ooh.
try to just stream it through
well,
LTE type of deal?
well, the options are either stream through LTE one way or another. There's a couple of wireless modems floating around. The other thing is maybe we just record everything.
Well, if we record everything, it's not so bad, because then you can just go through the week and stream game after game after game. For like an entire week, imagine Moosmachines is going to be like,
Yeah, stream this.
stream this.
One thing I do
We're
have.
definitely going to have to do a podcast. Do we have a slot to do a podcast?
We don't have a slot to do a podcast.
No, but I mean, is there a time you and I and Jason will all definitely be free where we can put an hour into podcast?
Sit down and yeah.
Well, it depends on how good you people are.
I'm not available.
If you're both shite enough,
Yeah.
Someday, don't worry. We should.
well, that's what I mean. If you guys are both shite enough, then we've got an entire day.
That'll be Sunday.
If one of you bastards gets into the finals, well, then we have a problem.
Yeah, that's not going to be me.
Bruce just joined the I don't know War Machine Club.
Yay!
Nice work, Bruce.
I approved him, by the way.
I approve.
I thought nobody liked that guy.
He needs a ride if he wants to get to Blood and Iron. And I'm going to ask on the Facebook page, because that's where you find rides.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Well,
Wasn't Bruce?
Bruce.
Tom's
Bruce?
Bruce?
Bruce? What?
Bruce
from our
I don't think so.
Monday night show stuff?
This is Bruce McLeod.
No, this is Monday Night Show. This is Bruce McLeod.
Oh, Brad?
Oh.
Brad McLeod.
Brad.
Not
I can't say words.
Brad, come, Brad. Is he coming?
He's trying to find her
trying
lift.
to find a ride. He's on the
Somebody
the
from
War Machine.
Hamilton must be
Alright.
fucking going. Isn't he Hamilton?
I don't know where he
Like
is.
I
Banky
don't know
or
where
somebody
he is.
fucking would be
Well,
going.
somebody is because Chris is in Guelph, so somebody must be.
He should
Yeah.
also throw out onto the
Guelph and the Southern
Ontario
Yeah,
page. Well, with 5 minutes left, we should probably crack this open because I
Yeah.
don't really want to crack this open on the stream because that's just like a lot of extra.
He's even looking into Greyhound. Poor man.
Oh, don't
Poor
grade
man.
on it. There's enough people coming. Tim is coming, right?
Someone
Banky?
will
Nope,
find.
Banky can't
Banky's
come.
not coming. Wow.
Jesus.
That's
Apparently.
impressive beer.
There's a cork for a
It's
reason.
a bit of strong
Sniff
beer.
it. Sniff it.
Mm.
You've been handed a cork. You must
You're not supposed to sniff the
Sniff
cork.
the
Sniff the
cork.
cork.
It smells like a fucking cork.
Yeah, never. For those on the chat, we've got what? Brad? For Brad.
For Brad.
We're having Game of Thrones beer tonight.
Noise.
There are
Three-eyed
other
raven.
people watching. Oh. We
Thank you very much.
Party Foul's here.
Party Foul's here!
Party foul!
Woo! Body foul in the
Party
house.
Foul, you're missing the beer.
Boo.
If it's Scott, tell Scott we will get Greg on the show, but we needed to do this.
I don't know. It's Party Foul in our hearts.
Try
We need to
again.
do this very.
Very important.
beer, Will. Pour my beer better.
Pour my beer better than that. That's better.
Oh, that is fluffy.
Mmm. Smells very...
I like how it's got like
Targaryen-ish.
part of the HBO family.
Drunken disorderly.
That means eventually we'll see boobs.
Yeah.
Keep wishing.
Oh.
Oh, damn it!
Wait, the kid's getting fit
Yeah.
upstairs. You want to see
It's a
boobs.
short walk upstairs. Sorry, wife.
That's terrible. That is terrible.
Hey, if you want accessibility
So,
other size, that's
Becky,
not my
you're
issue.
the only one that can hear the music cues.
Yes, sir.
So put your other finger up, and when the music cue is done, drop your hand.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
the best way to do
You
it.
got it. You have 7 minutes according to this computer.
3 minutes according to my iPad.
Yeah. Weird that the Macs are not synced.
Ours are probably wrong because that one's on the internet.
Mine's on the internet.
That's true.
And that one isn't right. Oh, no, it should be right now because you took it off airplane mode.
Yep. And then I plugged it onto the internet.
So, the internet is lying to something.
Probably. Who knows what the actual polling rate on a... Oh, phone's on quiet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that word is, I just copy and pasted this from whatever. Skip the 3 because that's do me 3. Once per game, he can mini feat. There are scrolls he can cast while in base-to-base contact with his pig scroll bearer, which is so he's got a pig scroll bearer that if he's in base-to-base
It's not
contact
just
with-
Dire Controls, by the way.
What's that?
Doom 3 will give Dire Trolls hyper regen. It's actually Field Marshal hyper generation.
Well, this is the information that was released.
Is there
on-
registration for Beer Machine? Or is it just
No.
show up? Okay.
Beer Machine is a show up thing.
Beer Machine will definitely be a those who are there and
No.
not. You do have to be a certain level of not shit-faced before Beer Machine starts.
Uh-oh.
Because we're not really cool with the boards being smashed to shit by angry people at the
Oh,
beginning
no.
of the game.
Yes, that has to be an end of the game thing. And if you want to proxy all of your models with ones from Undercity, you may want to do that.
Presenting the Satellite's army with mercenaries.
Well, if it's anything like Beer Machine at Southern Ontario Open, we'll just find some poor bastard who's left his bag unattended and just play his models.
Poor bastard.
Well, that happened. I don't know who it was. It was literally somebody's Circle Army was left out in the open, and it was what got played.
Pilfered.
Yeah, it was bad.
Gianni was asking.
Yeah.
I like that there's this much interest in Bar Machine. Remember, this is Bar Machine, not Beer Machine. There are adjustments which
New
were
rules.
to my benefit. The TO's benefit.
Yeah.
Basically.
Like
buy
control
me beer.
points for booze.
All right.
Maybe
All right, hit it. So go. Oh, we're live.
Well, hold on a sec. There's a thing in the middle of your face.
Okay, go down.
Oh, why don't you go down to the one that says
Podcast?
podcast?
There we go.
Ah!
And hit that music.
I can do music.
Welcome to This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, the explicit All Warma Hordes news podcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, and the Death Clock starts now.
Hi guys, welcome to the seventh episode.
Wow.
Of This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, the All War Machine Hordes news podcast all the time, the one that has its finger on the pulse because we broadcast live weekly.
Here's your finger.
This is my finger.
Way up.
Up. You can feel the pulse if you put it right up there. We may or may not have had a little bit to drink before we started tonight, so this may be an interesting podcast. So, first...
May?
I am the Myth
September.
Gorax. I'd like to introduce my co-hosts with the mostest Semi-Automagic,
Hello.
Maelstrom,
Hi.
and over on the chat tonight is the wife. Why is the wife on the chat this evening? Because tonight is a very special episode. Tonight we are just going to focus on tournaments. We're going to talk about tournaments. We're going to go in depth on how to be ready for your first tournament. For people.
Shush, everything's fine.
We just went black for a little bit. It's no big deal.
Go about your business.
Nobody panic.
For those that haven't gone to tournaments before, we're going to cover some new people tournament information. For those that have gone to a ton of tournaments, we're going to help flesh out some lists. We're going to get rid of some of the good and the bad. We're just really going to focus on tournaments. Why, Semi-Automagic, would we care about tournaments this week?
Well, there might be something coming up this weekend. In fact, you know what? I think there is. There might be a poster behind my head for those of you who are watching. Yes, everybody pointed the poster that the people on the podcast can't see. It's awesome. So, yes, all the people on the
It's a big
audio
white-
podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Who did that? Thing
should
that
be
nobody can
watching.
see?
The artwork on it was done by Toma at Vulcan Studios.
It's beautiful.
But the words on it are from myself, mostly my brain, and they are all about a tournament called Blood and Iron that is coming up this weekend.
Sweet. And so with Blood and Iron coming up, Maelstrom,
Yes.
you know, those who've been watching the cast since the beginning, Brad, know
I want
that...
you to lean in a little bit.
need to lean in a little.
bit. So those of you that have never...
No, just him.
Those of you that have been watching the podcast for a while, and you'll know Maelstrom. Maelstrom, you've
I'm
been
the chat
running,
guy.
You're the chat guy. You run our boards.
Yeah.
You're our moderator most of the time once the wife is here.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is that you are our newest player,
I am.
which is why we want to involve you, because we want to get your sort of insight as being the young Warma Hordes player type of deal. But the problem is this is going to be your first
It is.
tournament.
My
This
first
is-
tournament.
And we had to kind of
So
like...
this is
Scary
your
business.
first total tournament.
Yes.
You've been to one. You've
Yeah.
watched one happen in
I
front
have
of
watched, yes.
you, but you've never participated in one
No,
before.
I feel like I'm losing my tournament virginity this weekend.
We kind of had to twist your arm.
A little bit of twisting. You signed me up without me knowing. And
That's gentle twisting with these.
yeah.
It really is. You should see how he got me to start playing War Machine in the first place.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we're gonna help you out, and hopefully by helping you out to be, first tournament ready.
Yeah.
We'll help out the new players out there, and then we're going to help some of the old players out by talking about some of the things that you need to do with your lists if you're starting to get broken down. And there's a lot of people out there that say things to me like, I hate tournaments. Every time I go, I lose, and I just get beaten down, and I never want to go to them again. It's like, well,
there's things you can do to fix that.
There's things you can do to fix that. And here's how to have fun. Because
Yeah,
that's what
right.
a tournament should be about, is going to have fun and spend time with people that enjoy the same hobby as you do. But before we get into that, of course, we've got to give a good 5 minutes to the news tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the news that's come out of the whole privateer press world, there hasn't been a ton because there was some big stuff with errata.
Yeah.
But we haven't really talked about some of the list breakdowns that have happened with the WTC. That's the World Team Championships that are coming up in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, they're coming up pretty quick. One of the things that was problematic when setting up for Blood and Iron was the fact that I had to work around the WTC because it's always this time of year. Everybody's getting ready for it, and it's a big deal. And I would never want to try and actually schedule around it.
Right. So the lists have been released. We've all seen them. We've gone to discountgames.com to check them out. If you are going to go to tournaments, if you are a heavy tournament player, that's a great place to get tournament resources because you can learn what the best players are doing with their lists. What are some of the cool things that we've seen with the WTC breakdown this year? I mean, the errata screwed some stuff up, but let's talk about the other side of it.
Well, the errata only screwed, and it's only in a mild way, I would say probably 2 or 3 players. There are a couple people who went really deep in on Haley 3 with Mercs. Now, if you went Haley 3 with Signar, there's no difference. But if you went Haley 3 really heavy Mercs, they're the people I feel sorry for. Everybody else, there's all kinds of really neat stuff happening. The big thing that we have not seen in past years that we saw this year was we have 2 teams that decided, you know what, we want to go faction pure, and they went all Cricks.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
2 teams did that, not just one.
Not just
2
one.
teams was like, Body and Soul is so damn good
that we're just going to play it 24/7. No, basically the idea was everybody talks about how deep the stable of casters in Cricks is. And the thought was, you know what? They're all really good. Let's do something about that. And so from what I can tell, it's really, we're going to Cricks harder. Can you deal?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cricks for all the War Machine factions really is, I feel like the Cricks is the one faction that when you throw them down the table in War Machine, does what Hordes does with almost every faction except for maybe Scorn, which is, here's a question I'm going to give you. What are you going to do about it? If you have the right solution, I'm screwed. But the Cricks, and you also said a great thing this week on Monday. We were talking to one of our players, Tom, who is an up and coming good, solid Cricks player, and he is playing faction pure. Like, he won't even put a mercenary into his army. And you said, if you're going to play Cricks, and you want to play pure, it's the best way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It is Cricks more, I think, than anything else, has almost all the tools it needs to be wonderful in Cricks.
Yeah.
Now, they aren't playing faction pure at
they've
the
got
WTC.
Silas and whatever else.
They've got all the toys.
All the good
but
stuff.
the one of the interesting problems, though, with doing the all-in on Cricks is the fact that everybody has a Cricks answer.
Yeah, that's true.
It's one of the few factions that, at least in the past, maybe not so much now, but at least in the past, everybody, when you showed up at a tournament, you knew what was your Cricks answer.
Yeah.
How do I deal with dude spam with powerful weapons?
And there's always a lot of Cricks players in any meta. If you are, I feel like there's 2 ways you go. If you're going to play War Machine and not Hordes, or if you're going to play Hordes and you're like you're kind of into death metal and that kind of stuff, then you go Legion.
Yeah.
And if you're going to play War Machine and you're kind of into death metal, then you're going to play Cricks. And the reality is our game kind of attracts a certain amount of those people, and there's a lot of people that start Cricks and go Cricks hard, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's leave that behind because we only have 1 more minute, and I want to talk about the PP contest announcement. Let's just cover that pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. So by the way, this is a great excuse for all you press gangers out there. recently, for this month, and we are in September 2015, just, well, in the future when people listen to this. Yes, if anybody ever listens to it.
25.
Haley 4 has come out. Her feat is, I kill you all.
It will be nerfed in 2027. Anyway, so this month, Privateer Press is running a contest. If you buy either a 2-player battle box or any of the battle group boxes, and you email your receipt to Privateer Press, you are entered to win an all-in-one battle box.
Yeah.
So basically you get an entire army. And if the brick and mortar store that you purchase that from actually tweets a picture of you purchasing it,
which I did this week already.
When they can actually also win $400 worth of Privateer Press product for the store.
Yeah, they're and I was at our local friendly gaming store, LFGS. Which, if you don't know what LFGS is, every time you see that posted, go to your local friendly gaming store. They are wonderful people, and they want to support your hobby. Wizard's Tower was on it. I mean, the day that I went and picked up my Scorn Battle Box, they took a picture of me and had it out within 10 minutes. So, anyway, that's happening. And before we lead out on the news tonight, we just need to talk about Doomy 3 information has been leaked. Hey there, troll player over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doomy 3, a little bit excited?
Yeah, so how can you not be excited about more trolls?
Yeah, more trolls, and Doomy is one of my favorite casters from a painting, from a hobby standpoint.
His poses are gorgeous.
Doomy in general has always been beautiful. Big scroll is always kind of cool. George, what information has been leaked about Doomy 3?
You say leaked on the Primecast this month, and if you don't know, Privateer Press puts out a monthly podcast called the Primecast, and they will often talk about unreleased models in the Primecast.
Little hints.
Mostly because to them it's relatively old news. Yeah. Occasionally I think
it's been 6 years since we made Haley 8.
Yeah, exactly. They told us a few of the things because Doomy 3 has gotten fed up and tired with carrying all those damn scrolls around.
Hey!
He's got a pig scroll bearer that
everyone needs a pig scroll bearer.
Yeah.
That he's unloaded all those things on. It's made him a little more agile, old man. And
has it up to speed? Because that's hilarious.
I think it actually did.
If it ups to speed, that's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It has allowed him to basically have more access to the Trollkin scrolls than he did before. It's also made him a little more ornery because he picked up a field marshal, and from what we know, his field marshal is hyper regeneration, which is something that was on I think 1 or 2 trolls and on the multi-headed guy from Legion. Typhon.
Might be a circle.
Yeah, there might be a circle one as well. But basically, every time you take damage that does not kill you, you heal D3 damage.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
So
because that's what trolls need.
Because that's
not
what they
die as fast.
Yeah.
All right. So
but
also
he's also got a bunch of scrolls to go with it.
So he's going to get because if you've played trolls before or you've played against trolls, you know that they have scrolls which are like mini feats. They give you one-time power as you read the scroll, blah, 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 something great happens.
Yeah.
Some of the things that are out there, Signs Importance, which will boost attack rolls on all Trollkin warrior models within his control range. The other 2 aren't really known so far, and he's going to give hyper regen. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be pretty fun. Trolls, I think, love Signar to death, and they get a lot of love from Privateer Press, but it kind of feels right now like trolls are getting a lot of... I think we'll see a lot of new troll players in the next
I agree.
I may or may not have really waffled on becoming a troll player in the last couple of
years. You didn't have my trolls for
Trolls really feel to me like they're coming into their own as a faction. In the last couple of books, they have really gotten rounded out. Where they have always been great beaters, they're getting gun lines, they're getting a little bit heavier armor, stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's it for the news for this week. Let's get right on to... It's time to talk about what's going on in the forums this week. And there's...
It's totally in the button, Will.
Wow.
Really?
There's a lot on this one.
Ripped from the forums? Wow.
Doesn't it just say rip from the
I
forums?
thought it just went ripped from the forums.
Yes, and then.
Oh, no, it echoes a lot. All right. I can't hear it this week, so normally I would wait. But all right, so we're learning the podcast is it's like a fine wine. It is growing into its own. So those that want to complain about it, go right ahead.
You drink it by the bottle.
It's fine. That's a wine.
So here's what we want to talk about this week, because it's part and parcel to our entire topic for this evening, which is you're going to see it every time you log into the PP forums, Reddit, News on Minis forums. Any forum that you go to is going to have this is my new list. Mm-hmm. Tell me about it.
CNC in my list.
CNC. So first off, what does CNC mean? Semi-automatic.
I'm not 100% sure. It's criticize.
Comment and
criticize.
Comment and criticize.
Yeah.
So let's talk briefly about why you do that in the first place. Maelstrom, you're a newer player.
Right.
Why? What is it? Because us older players, or us more senior players, whenever we see a CNC list, we roll our eyes.
Right.
It's like, because we get the same questions
over and over again.
And most of them I just scroll right past.
Yeah.
But as a younger player,
Right.
it's important to you. Why would you go and get somebody to CNC your list?
Because as a newer player, you don't want to pick a bunch of models that are gonna not cohesively do the thing you want them to do, which is win.
Right. I think, and that makes a big... I want to make this a big point, because you'll see a lot of older players poo-poo people when they put a CNC thing. It's the same thing with painters, too. Mm-hmm. As a hobbyist, I will throw something up, and I will expect to get comments and criticism.
Yes.
Well, I'm doing that because I know that there are better painters than me out there who are going to spot my mistakes.
Right.
Well, the same thing goes for younger players. So let's talk about etiquette. Mm-hmm. What's the semi-automatic? What's the best way to ask for a CNC, and where do you think the best place to go for it is?
Well, I would say the best place to go for good criticism on a list is to the guy you just played in the last round in a tournament or on your friendly night.
Yeah.
That is the first and foremost the best place. The reason for that is this is someone who has just seen it in motion. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, in Moosmachine, there's placement is a huge thing, as well as the actual how you activate, what order you activate in. All those things really, really, really matter. And the
Totally worth it.
Totally worth it. And that is the best place. When you put a list into basically the ether, that robs it of a lot of the things that actually make a list good or bad.
Right.
Now, as for the best place online, a good place to always start is your Facebook page for whatever faction you are.
Or, I would say equally, the Privateer Press forum for your faction.
Yeah,
right.
Somewhere where people who have a good idea of your faction are hanging out. Because there's a lot of things that are non-obvious when you're not playing that faction. Like, why the heck would you ever take Model A with B?
Yeah.
When you don't play that faction, you don't know.
Right, and the other thing I was going to add to that is when you're asking people for CNC and you're a new player, give people the reasons why you're asking for CNC. I will personally throw in my hat when it's somebody who states something like, I play against this guy.
Yeah.
He always plays, let's say, Body and Soul against me. Mm-hmm. I have tried everything I can to try to beat Body and Soul. Here's my list. Here's what I own in models. Also, tell us what you own.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's usually why you're asking.
Because I can recommend $400 worth of models in 50 points.
Yeah, and a lot of the time the reason why you're asking is because you don't want to go and buy a bunch of models. If you're like us, you're a little bit older, you've got a good job, you can go out and buy a bunch of models and enjoy it. But a lot of people don't have that, or they don't want to spend that kind of money on war dollies.
Yeah.
So when you go and ask that, tell us what you've got. we'll help you the best we can, but also tell us what it is that's your problem.
Yeah.
Like if I'm losing against, let's say, a Khador gun line every time with my Legion, here's what I'm always facing. My opponent will get me with this stuff. I want to hear about that because that will actually me that's the etiquette.
That tells you more what you need to do. Yeah. Now, if you had said not where is the best place to ask for that information, but how is the best place to get information? The best way to ask is, of course, to post your list and say this is the best list ever, and everybody will tell you exactly what's wrong with it.
True.
Now, if you want constructive criticism, it's slightly different.
Yeah. Don't go to Reddit.
Well,
Not my fault this time.
We love you, Reddit.
No.
So I think we can kind of. I think the consensus is give us as much information as possible.
Yeah.
We will in turn the older players. Let's stop being jerks about it.
Mm-hmm.
But for younger players, give us as much information as we can because honestly, I don't know about your meta.
Yes.
And let's be straight up, guys. If you come to my meta and you play your lists that work really well in your meta,
you're in trouble.
It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
Unless you're a world team championship player that's used to playing people on the world scale, it changes.
Yeah. You are going to find the strangest things happening. This will blow people's minds. We have exactly one person who has played the Old Witch. Ever. Mm-hmm. We never see her on the table.
Which...
People are someone is sitting at home going, why? What's going on?
Yeah.
Because there are powerful casters out there that our meta just never plays.
Yeah. Because,
either we don't have a lot of players of that faction, or the good players in that faction never play that model because they're like, oh, that model gets played all the time. I'm playing Dark Horses, so all we ever fight against in our meta are the Dark Horses. Yeah. And who's this Vlad character?
Yeah,
No, and your meta is a self-contained, breathing, living thing, and it changes. We play in a separate meta from our greater meta, which is our Elmont meta. We have 4 regular players who play their tournament lists. And those are dedicated, tournament-driven style lists. So, and they're designed to do a certain thing, but they're also designed not necessarily to win against each other on a daily basis. So, just remember to give us as much information as possible so that we can help you in the best way possible. And for older players, let's start helping.
Yes.
There's nothing don't be a jerk about it. Like, wow, nobody. I love nobody takes that model. Well, you know what?
Yeah. Okay, now I got a story for this one. When I started playing Metoff, I was told time and time again to never play the High Reclaimer because he was a second-tier caster and made of shit. I don't know if I can swear on this. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
you can.
Oh, good.
I'm trying to f-bomb a little less, so you might be confused.
Yeah, okay, but
a little
and
less.
I just I like him. I like the way he runs. So I was running my double bastions and my High Reclaimer. Then that wanted a high-level tournament, and now he's everywhere.
Yeah, well, or the very first time I ever played my Signar list, I was told, nobody plays that guy, and I beat the dude.
Yeah.
And suddenly it was like, oh, well, maybe
you
got lucky. But the reality is that models that aren't played. Mm-hmm. And so nobody plays them.
Yes.
You never know when suddenly Siege's character Warjack is suddenly going to become the best thing in the game.
Here is a sad and scary truth, and I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me about it. But this game is balanced so tightly that a list against a list, even what you may think of as your worst matchup, probably is maybe 10% of an equation where 90% of it is player skill.
Absolutely.
And
memory.
That's something that if you've come from another game might be kind of hard to wrap your head around, because there are a lot of tournament level miniature war games that are decided at list selection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that just blows people away. That you can take 2 lists and you put a good player in front of either one and they'll run a tournament.
Well, we've seen it. I mean, you guys, if you watch the show regularly, if you haven't, go back into some of our old podcasts and listen to Marc Andre. Marc Andre's an amazing player. And we've seen it, where we'll be like, okay, dude,
You have to play this. Go.
Yeah, and he will.
And he will.
We actually have one of the older press gangers in our meta who will quite often play whatever he finds in the top of his bag that day.
So let's drop this. I digress because we've talked about this.
We're getting wordy.
We're getting wordy.
Sorry.
We do that.
And we really need to talk. We need to move on to our next segment.
Which one's next?
It's Jason's favorite one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're as we said tonight's very focused on tournament play. Sorry for the casual players out there, but we want you guys to go to tournaments and we want you to enjoy it. Tonight we're going to talk about tournament play, the rules of tournament play, specifically the Steamroller package, because that's what most tournaments are based around. You do see some Iron Gauntlet, but mainly that's Privateer Press official events, and because it does disclude a lot of players who don't feel like painting their models, and a lot of the reason why people like Marc-Andre got into this was so that they don't have
to deal with that.
So, Semi-Auto Magic. Let's talk about the rules of tournament play. Give us the basics.
Well, the basics are we use in Warmachine and Hordes something called the Steamroller packet. Now, the Steamroller packet was actually started by the community and is actually still maintained by the same guy. He got hired at Privateer Press because the community, the guy that was doing it in the community was so good. They're like, we need this to keep happening. We are going to hire you, and we want you to keep doing what you're doing. The Steamroller packet basically gives you a framework for how to play games of Warmachine in a tournament setting. It outlines things like how to set up terrain for a tournament, what type of scenarios you should use. It outlines the different scenarios. It talks about how to do things called tiebreakers. See, normally you play a game of Warmachine and one person wins and one person loses, and yay, that's fine. So then you get in a tournament and there's one guy that's won, and there's 3 guys that won 3 games and lost 1 game, say. How do you decide which of those 3 guys is the guy who came in second?
Right.
Well, this package outlines how you make those determinations. It even gives you sheets for filling those out.
Right.
If you are ever thinking about going to a tournament, or even if you'd like to give your regular game night a little bit of structure, I highly recommend grabbing the Steamroller Tournament Kit,
which is free.
Make
on
sure
the Privateer
you read
Press
through
Reddit.
it.
It's
Yes,
organized play. Tab.
If you're on Privateer Press website, on the left hand side, you'll see organized play, and then you'll see Steamroller and Iron Gauntlet and all their different organized play things there.
What's really cool is it's updated every year. And we all kind of look forward to the day that this...
Oh, yes, because there's a bunch of new stuff comes out.
Because suddenly the scenarios change. The scenarios that we've learned to hate suddenly change. You get to see some new scenarios, which is fine. It also, those scenarios show up in other styles of organized play.
Yeah.
But playing within those scenarios, beyond the basic rule book, has a few scenarios.
Don't play rulebook scenarios.
Don't play rulebook scenarios.
Grab the latest Steamroller. One of the big things that the Steamroller packet has allowed Privateer Press to do that people don't actually think about it doing is it allows them to errata the game without errating the game.
Yeah.
You can, by the very nature of scenarios, you can give casters that would not have a chance in a fight the ability to actually thrive in a battle. There are casters who don't have the offensive output to knock down the other warcaster, but can stay in one place for basically ever. And the ability to score scenario points takes that caster from a caster that you would normally say, well, why would I ever bring this? I can't kill the other guy with this model. Yeah. To something like, wait a second, you mean you can't do anything to this model for 2 turns?
Well, have you ever heard
suddenly it's a thing.
Yeah, if you've ever heard the term control caster.
Yes.
A control caster is all about dominating scenarios. So if you're not playing with the scenario, go play with the scenario. Let's move on from that because hopefully 99% of our viewers are playing with scenario right now, unless you're still playing with your battle boxes, and that's fine.
One thing I will say, if you are, and this is something that all new players should think about right now. If you're not playing in a tournament, go play in a tournament.
Yeah.
The whole point of tournaments is to have fun. They're not scary.
We're going to get to that in a couple seconds because we're actually
got about 6 minutes left to talk about the focus for this evening. Tell me what. So, I'm going to my first tournament, and somebody slaps this freaking 1946 looking chess clock in front of me, and they say, "You're on death clock now." What the hell is that?
That
really
is
awesome
the most
podcast.
relaxing. Yeah, it's an awesome podcast.
Other than a really awesome podcast.
It is perhaps the most relaxing thing that you can possibly hear in a tournament, because this means you won't be playing timed turns. Now, a death clock, what it is it's just a variation on a chess clock. So a chess clock is basically 2 stopwatches that are next to each other, and when you press the button above one stopwatch, it starts the other stopwatch. So that may be kind of hard to think in your head, but as soon as you hit the button on your side, it starts the other guy's clock. Mm-hmm. And what that allows us to do is time how long each player takes to play the game.
Right.
And we don't use death clocks because we don't like certain casters or anything. The reason we use death clocks is so that we can have a tournament, inside of a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
it's because we really, really, really hate cricks.
Yes. I have played BattleBox games that were 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I've played 50-point games that were over in 12 minutes.
Dude, you played a BattleBox game against me that lasted 2.5 hours.
This is absolutely true.
Where we both went so deep in the tank.
Yeah.
It got ridiculous. You can go back through our
it
podcast
and watch a 2.5-hour game with 15 points.
All right, so that's what a death clock
Why
is.
you would
You
ever
also
want
said
to.
that there's another... Sometimes if you're at a tournament that doesn't use death clock, which is very rare...
There are actually 3 timing things that you might hear. Death clock is the first one. Mm-hmm. There is the dice down round timer. Mm-hmm. And basically, you play a game till some guy yells dice down, and then you put down the dice. And whoever is farther ahead wins.
Wow.
This is the least good version.
There's no fun in that.
Because I have been in tournaments where that yell happens at the end of somebody's first turn because they suck. And I've also been at tournaments where, you are done and you're sitting waiting around for everybody else.
All right.
The third way, which is the other one you might find in an actual tournament, is what we call timed turns. And then instead of having a chess clock, you've basically got an egg timer. And at the beginning of your turn, you set the egg timer for, say, 10 minutes for a 50-point list. And when the egg timer goes, ding, your turn is done.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, and you know what? That's, to be honest, not a bad way to practice.
Absolutely. I would suggest practicing at what they call the reduced time. So you go to your Steamroller packet, like we've been talking about. You look up whatever list you're playing. So say you're playing 50 points. Look down at the one that says 35 points and play that amount of time turns. That will teach you how to play your list, because you'll be trying to, say, move 50 points of models in 7 minutes.
All right, sending a question out to the wife. We have a very cruel, evil PG in our meta who has forced all of us to become better players. What has he done to help us practice for tournaments?
This nameless PG. So if you're playing in the Ottawa Gatineau meta and you are like, why can't I finish it? It's because we run our clock short. We play in, an hour instead of an hour and 10?
No, we play 50 instead of 60
50
minutes.
instead of 60 per person. So, but I will say it's awesome when you are from here because you're very used to this. It means we get our tournaments up faster, we can have time to have food, and then we go somewhere else and we have a whole extra 10 minutes.
Yeah, and to be honest, it makes a giant difference in your play. So if you're practicing with Death Clock, guys, think about that. Practice at 50 minutes. If you're playing, like our Monday night game night at the local pub, what we do is we slap 50-minute clocks down the table for guys that are practicing for tournaments, and it makes us all better players.
Absolutely.
It also
guys
means
who just
that...
take all night.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it helps a lot. Also, the next topic... Sorry, also... I didn't mean to say also.
As well.
Next topic as well, let's talk about scenarios. What's a scenario? Because... as you said, there are some scenarios that come with the rulebook, which is now free, but...
we would highly discourage their use. And we would highly encourage...
Except for maybe Mangled Metal and Tooth and Claw, because it's a great
That is not a scenario.
Right,
that is a format.
Right, it's a format.
So your scenario... your scenario... will be usually in the back of the packet. So you flip to the back, and you'll see all these what look like table setups. So it'll be a big box representing the table, and then they will have put one of 3 different, or at least one of 3 different objects on that table. You'll have a zone, you'll have a flag, or you'll have an objective. Zones are literally that. They're an area that you want to control. So usually zones can be controlled for 1 CP, 1 control point. And then they can be dominated for 2. Now, dominating is a little bit different from controlling. We'll go into that in a second. But, so they can be dominated.
Question, George. Yeah. Dominate versus contest.
Oh, versus contest or control?
Contest.
Okay, they're very different things.
Okay, how?
So, you have 3 things that you can do to a zone flag or objective. Mm-hmm. The first thing you can do is control it.
Right.
For a zone, this is having a solo or an entire unit or a warcaster warjack, a warjack in the zone. This will usually earn you 1 control point.
Okay.
If you're controlling a flag, it has to be in base to base. Mm-hmm. If you are controlling an objective, you usually won't. You'll usually just blow it up. The second one is dominate. This is something only warcasters can do. Warcasters can dominate. It's usually worth more points because, well, really, you're putting your warcaster somewhere you really shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. they're generally not put in a place that is really convenient.
Yes,
safe.
The middle of the table is a classic place. Mm-hmm. The third thing you can do with all these zones is contest. And you can only contest your own objectives, zones, or flags. And that is having one of your own models within 4 inches of a flag or inside of a zone that your opponent is trying to score on.
Okay.
All right, so that's a scenario. Check them out, guys. If you haven't played scenarios from this Steamroller packet, go.
We could easily do an entire podcast on scenarios.
On each and every one of the
scenarios.
Yes,
we could do a podcast on each scenario.
Yeah. And one of these days what we'll do is we'll get Marc Andre on and we'll do like a special broadcast on how to be awesome at this scenario.
Mm-hmm. One thing I will get you to do.
Casters can contest, correct?
No, casters cannot contest. No. That is a very important thing. One of the big things that they did in Steamroller 2014, which is the latest one, is they removed the ability for casters to contest zones or flags. The reason they did this, well, is mostly a caster called Tournments who can have 8 million health for a turn. Mm-hmm. And it meant that you literally could not win on scenario against certain casters. So they removed the ability for casters to contest.
Okay. All right. So let's drop all this and let's just talk about. We've got we're over time, but let's just give some tips for scenario play because I think if you're a new player in particular,
right.
We all make the mistake of getting really used to worrying about the assassination, making that our goal. Yeah. The assassination becomes our main way to win. Mm-hmm. And then scenarios, the funny thing about it, first off, if you're going to a tournament, a scenario point is actually a really good point. Like,
yes,
those points are worth more than pretty much everything else in the game when you are calculating your final score.
They are the first tiebreaker.
Yeah. So if you have lost 3 games, or if you won 3 games, and there's another dude who's won 3 games, and you lost 1 game, and he lost 1 game, if he got 1 scenario point and you got 0, he's going to beat you.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's actually kind of important to understand that you need to kind of rock the scenario. So let's give... you've been playing some scenarios recently, Maelstrom.
Right.
What is your new player advice for how to rock a scenario?
Understand how it works.
Read the scenario.
Because as a new player, I'm still immediately looking for assassination. Mm-hmm. Understanding how the scenario works is a huge deal. Because if you're not 100% on how that scenario works, you're going to ignore it.
Yeah.
You're going to look for the assassination, you're going to completely ignore the scenario, and you're going to lose on scenario probably.
Yeah, and as a middle-of-the-road player who plays assassination casters most of the time, I would say, no matter what, I go through a priority list. Whenever I'm playing every turn, I go, can I win on scenario this turn?
Right.
Can I get a scenario point this turn? Can I win an assassination this turn? Mm-hmm. If I can't do any of those, how do I stop my opponent from getting a scenario point?
Right.
Because if you look at those 4 things as you're sort of like, got to do this, checklist. Now I can move on. You're not going to have as bad a time. You're not just going to have somebody say, "Oh yeah, I won."
If I had to have one piece of advice for someone new to scenarios, that piece of advice would be get in the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally get in the zone.
There.
Because sometimes you have to run twice to get in the zone, and you're sitting there saying to yourself, I don't want to do that. That means they haven't got shield wall, haven't gotten behind cover, haven't made it through this forest. I don't want to just run them in the middle. They're going to all die. Well, realistically, in a scenario setup, that's something that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, and then
your wife kicks you by the scenario for the first 6 months you play because you ignored them.
Yeah.
May have happened.
All right, guys, we're gonna leave that behind. I think that focus was pretty damn good. Tonight's roundtable discussion. We're gonna, of course, we don't have a guest tonight. We normally have a guest, but we're gonna try.
I'm the guest.
Our guest tonight is Maelstrom, who recently just had a baby.
I did.
Like a week away. You
I
got
did.
your own personal shredder.
I know.
Pretty awesome.
Large base model.
Yeah. We do have to get a photo of it just sitting flopped in the middle of a large base.
No, huge base.
Photoshop
Never gonna
huge
put it
and
on.
wings
Huge
on
base,
there.
I like it.
All right.
That must happen this week. It will. We'll go
It
viral.
will happen.
Man is cruel to child is how we'll post it.
Worst father ever.
So the roundtable discussion tonight is we're going to teach Maelstrom how to rock his first tournament. So
Please.
actually, unfortunately, I have to give up the microphone. I got to drop the mic. You're the one that has to ask the questions. Because...
Oh, he didn't tell me that.
Well,
They tell you lots of things.
No kidding. Like, you're signed up for a tournament.
We have some sort of basics that we're going to talk about to start with. And your first tournament, we talked a bit this week about net decking, which is a funny term that comes from Magic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Semi-auto Magic, what is net decking? Because you'll hear this term and it's frowned upon.
Well, it's...
But we all do it.
Oh my god, it should not be frowned upon. Net decking is literally getting a list from the internet. Mm-hmm. In Warmachine, it's literally a list of models. Net decking tends to be frowned upon because you are playing the same list that people have seen other places.
Right.
What you will find out very quickly when you stop saying I am a unique snowflake and start actually looking at lists online. If you look at, say, the top 20 lists with a single caster from the last year, you'll see that they are all the same to within, say, 10%. Mm-hmm. And that last 10% is where they get really interesting.
Let's say 8 to 10 points. That's where the changes happen within 8 to 10 points.
Yeah. And
so 50 points.
So I think that net decking is absolutely a wonderful thing. The biggest problem with net decking is that people do not go deep enough. And I know that sounds really silly. How much deeper can you go? Well, the first thing you should do when you're net decking a list is first you pick out a list that you like, and hopefully that you have all the models for it. Or, you got to buy one or two, whatever. So, you've got this list. The next thing you want to do is type the guy's name at the top of that list into YouTube and find a video of him playing that list. Mm-hmm. Because you won't know how to set it up, where to move those models, or how quickly to move them out if you just have the list. Every time you can remove one variable from a game, you can use the other variables to learn. So, I have the entire world of Warmachine in front of me. So what do? I'm going to remove building a list from the list of things that I personally have to worry about. So we'll get rid of that. So next, I want to see how this guy unpacks. Nothing is really reliable after turn 2 because, of course, then you're getting into how your opponent reacted and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I look at how it unpacks. So now I learn how to unpack it. That's another variable I've removed. So once I've removed those variables, now I can concentrate on the other things. I don't have to worry about, is this a good list? Did I fuck this up somewhere? No. This is a list I have seen people win tournaments with. Good. I cannot have to deal with that shit.
Well, you also don't end up buying a model to attack against something that... Because, look at when we all first started playing Warmachine, we play against our buddy.
Yeah.
Who is the guy that we play against all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I played against Semi-Auto Magic originally for the first, 6 months, it was just the two of us generally on a weekly basis. You were always throwing Legion against me. So I went immediately out and I bought things like the Monster Hunter dude with the giant gun, Pendrake, those guys that are Legion killers. And they were great to beat him. The problem is you go to a tournament your first time,
And suddenly it's everything.
Yeah. Everything is there, and you've never faced it before. And somebody goes, "Oh, by the way, my Menoth, all your powers don't work."
Right.
And you're like, "Oh, son of a bitch." So I want to throw this question out to the wife.
Yo.
I think the first rule of tournaments, especially when it's your first couple of tournaments, your first 30 tournaments, and you're not ever planning on being a top-tier player, is learn how to lose well.
Mm-hmm.
So the wife...
You want the story?
Tell us how to lose... Well, tell us as men, testosterone-filled... What makes it... How do you... Like, if I'm going to go to a tournament and somebody's told me, dude, just learn how to lose.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Step one, especially for some of the ladies out there, is do not cry. Do not get upset. I've actually seen someone break down at a War Machine tournament.
That's unfortunate.
It's just a mess, and you look like you're silly. So, that's the nicest word I can come up with. Losing is an art form. Go out to have fun. I keep telling people about halfway through my tournaments, because I'm like the only girl, and they're all scared that they're going to scare me away from the game, they're like, I kind of want to do a thing. I'm like, is it a cool thing? Will it be awesome? They're like, yes. I'm like, then do it. I want to see it. And we laugh, we have fun about what's going on. And you can always learn from, you learn more when you lose than when you don't.
Right.
And if you play against a top player, like when I, who am known for leaving tournaments with 2 points, get paired against Marc-Andre, I measure my success on how many turns I survive. Because if I survive 1 turn, I have done something wrong. If I survive many turns, I have posed a challenge. That's awesome.
Yeah, I could tell my story about going to SOO and then slowly finding out that every person that I faced up until my very last round, they're all guys who have won, like...
Major events.
Major shit.
Yeah.
Your strength of schedule was
my
really
strength
strong.
was ridiculous. And it was like, this is my son of a bitch!
Yeah.
But then I didn't feel as bad about losing my first 3 games. So, I think that's great advice. Learn how to lose.
Yeah.
And the best part about losing, especially if you lose quickly, no offense to those people that are going to lose quickly, Maelstrom.
You get to go see everybody else.
Not only that, you get a chance to ask your opponent,
Right.
who generally will be a better War Machine player than you, do you have any advice for me? Like, I have never received greater advice than I have right after a tournament loss, where somebody's able to say, well, dude,
You put this here.
You did this.
yeah, you did this, you did this, you did this.
Yeah.
Maybe next time think about this, especially with things like Circle, your first time you get assassinated from a teleport from 8 inches away, and you're like, but that! And he's like, yeah, I couldn't have done that if you just put 1 model right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the great things, and this may sound very Watchmen of me, but it always felt to me in the first couple of tournaments that I wasn't trapped in here with them; they're trapped in here with me.
Right.
Because somebody out there has forced these poor tournament players to play me repeatedly, and they have to do nothing but sit around and talk to me because they managed to kill me way before everybody else, and they have nothing to do but sit here and tell me how to play the game because I've got them stuck here. They can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They have to be around for that next round.
Absolutely.
Okay. As somebody going into a tournament absolutely blind, never played a tournament before, I'm used to playing my meta. I bring 2 or 3 casters. It's what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
Do I continue playing the caster I'm used to? Do I go and net deck a caster and find a list that I'm not really comfortable with and just study the card? What do I do?
When you're walking into a tournament, outside of these massively good players,
Right.
Always play somebody you're good with, as opposed to, or somebody you're comfortable with, as opposed to somebody who's supposed to be good. If you've played 100 games with Darius, and somebody says, "Oh, we're going to a tournament," you should really pick up Haley too. And you pick up Haley too. you are going to probably lose every single game with Haley 2, and you might win 2 or 3 of them with Darius.
And people will be like, yes!
Yeah.
I beat Haley too!
Yeah.
I play Harbinger like shit.
You should always
Go
go with what you're comfortable with. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the list you're comfortable with. I would always tell you to hopefully play your list once or twice before a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's not possible.
Right.
But always play who you're comfy with.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the best pieces of advice that I picked up from Arcane Assist, if you guys don't listen to that podcast, unfortunately
really
there's
should.
not enough of Arcane Assist. We need to get Tim back on the podcasting mic and podcasting, because Arcane Assist is a wealth of information.
Oh, it's amazing.
But one of the cool things I learned from them is that they don't even critique a caster until they've played 100 games with them.
Yeah.
And I take that in a different vein, is I don't play a caster unless I've played. I mean, I'm never going to get 100 games in. It would be 3 years of me playing before I got 100 games in. But just take top players like the guys from the WTC. They're playing 5 games a week. They're playing those 2 casters. They're probably going to a tournament. They're playing 5 games just in said tournament. They're getting in 20 to 25 games a month. It's possible for them to get 100 games with the caster. I don't go into a tournament unless I played that caster and my new list at least 3 or 4 times to just really work the bugs out and to know what shit does. There's a reason why Ekane is a solid caster, and there's a reason why I'm taking him into this weekend's tournament, because I've played him every tournament I've ever played. Win or lose, he's lost just as many times as he's won, but the reality is I know that caster, I know that list, I know what I can do with it. So if you're going to take a new list and you want to swap some shit out, try to play it once or twice, because it'll be that one power you forget about, and don't just swap your caster out, because your caster is so fundamental to this game.
Right.
We've got a question from the.
No, I was stretching my arm.
Oh, sorry.
Send us more questions then.
Send us more
Well, I
questions.
think Brad sent us a bunch of questions.
Brad,
Just
yes,
to be
Brad.
Brad.
Well, why don't you ask him Brad's questions?
Because Brad said he knew all the answers already.
Okay.
Well, then it's not a real question, Brad.
Yeah, like
All right,
he wanted
so
to know things about listing and stuff, but you guys can know it for later. It's fine.
Okay.
We love you, Brad.
So, as somebody who's playing their first tournament, me, I go to the table.
Mm-hmm.
What happens?
So, which table are you talking about? Because when you arrive at a tournament,
I'm
the
paired
first thing. Oh, okay, you're already paired up. So, if you're paired up, you have this piece of paper in your hand.
Okay.
And hopefully it's got your list on it. It should have 2 for a 50-point steamroller standard tournament.
Right.
So you'll have 2 lists on it. You'll get to the table, and there'll be another person, hopefully, at the table.
Across the table.
Yep. And the first thing you're going to do is select your list.
Okay.
Because your list can actually change what your starting die roll will be.
How do we select our list? Do I get to see the other player's
Yes,
list before I select
First
mine?
thing you do is swap sheets.
Okay.
You both stare at each other's sheets, and if you're like me, you
and
randomly...
you'll go,
What are these?
you got some shit, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
here's your list back.
if you're like me, you count the large bases,
Okay.
then you count the huge bases, then you go back to your list and think, okay, so I've got one that kills lots of large bases, and one that kills lots of tiny bases.
Okay.
And you pick the appropriate one of the 2.
Right.
Yeah, this is our troops.
So you somehow do list chicken.
Okay.
And that's what we will often call it when you pick your list.
So I'm allowed to pick whatever list I want.
You can pick either one of them on the first... This is your first table.
Okay.
So you can pick either list.
Okay.
So
second table.
So once you've picked your list, you each pick up a die and roll it and add any bonuses that your list might have so that you can select the side of the table.
Right.
Because in a steamroller scenario,
Side is
the
important.
person who goes first sets up first, and the person who goes second gets to pick the table side that they want.
Right.
Because sometimes you might have a list, say
Really
you're playing...
wants a hill.
Well, say you're playing Trolls,
forest.
and you have an Earthborn.
Yeah.
And as we all have felt to our detriment, you get an Earthborn too close to things like water or forests or stuff, he suddenly gets outrageous bonuses for no particular reason.
Okay.
So maybe what you want to do is make sure that there aren't any of those things on the side of the table you give that person.
Or if you're playing Signar, you go for the side that has the hill.
Yes.
The wall.
Because you want to keep your stuff away from it.
So
once you've picked your side,
Yep.
you've picked who's going first and second, and you've picked your list, then you basically either the judge will call out that you guys can start your timers, or
more often than not, the judge will say, "Start your timers
when
as
you're
soon
ready."
as you're ready."
Yeah.
Okay.
Which now, the one thing that's really important is before you start your timer, you're allowed to unbox. Or not unbox is the wrong word. Sorry.
Right.
Take all your models out and put them on the fucking
put them
table.
on the table.
Because the problem is,
Don't put them in your zone. Though.
don't put them in the zone because
So
that's actually
put them
illegal.
out on the table, because theoretically, if you're taking them off the tray and putting them into the deployment zone,
Yeah.
you could be doing your deployment off of the clock. And because you're going to
So
want to
you
start
deploy on the clock?
You deploy on
which
the
is
clock.
super important.
We
for,
cheated on Monday.
Which is
Oh.
super important for guys that have giant lists. For a list like yours, where generally you've got a couple, you got a couple of large base models
Right.
and maybe a huge base in there.
Yeah.
It's not as bad. But for guys like certain Crix players who have
50,000
40
Banes.
Yeah.
50,000
Yeah.
Banes who have to
Yeah.
that can
That can take up
burning
half a fucking
yeah.
clock just
Yeah.
putting your shit on the table.
So let's move right on from that. So that's your first. You stand at the
So
table. I
that's
think
your
we've
first
covered
round.
the basics.
You're going to be
Shit.
doing the same thing 3, 4, 6 times over a day or two.
So how do
Right.
your deployment? Plan?
So after your second deployment, you've played one of your lists. Now, a lot of tournaments you go to will have a something that they call DNC. It's actually DN, like little NC,
Oh, okay.
divide and conquer.
Okay.
And what that means is that they will have a divide and conquer number, and that will be the number of times each list must be played. So usually it'll be DNC1, means you have to play each list once.
Okay.
So if you have, say, a 3-round tournament, you play your first list the first game, you play your first list the second game, you're now list
On
locked.
your third
You have to
game,
play,
you have to play
third game, you have to play list 2.
Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
that is the one thing that is different than
So remember,
your first turn.
You sometimes want to save your strongest list, the one that you're happiest with, the one that you know wins the most times, or that you're most comfortable with. Really, to be honest,
Yeah.
you might want to save that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking at somebody else's stuff and you're like, "Oh, I've faced this before." And I'm cool.
Yeah.
All right, last question, and we'll make this really quick before we get into some fun times because we're actually. It's amazing how long we can go with this conversation.
We can.
You see the player across the board. You know he's done something that's cheaty McCheaterson.
Right.
What do you do?
You lift your arm up and yell, "Judge!"
And is that? I mean, that seems like an asshole thing to do. You're ruining the game.
At the beginning of your tournament experience, you are going to find that you feel really, really weird about throwing your hand up in the air and yelling, "Judge." The judges are not there for you to say, "This guy is cheating."
Okay.
The judges are there to
Shenanigans.
help the game keep flowing.
Okay.
So there are a myriad of times you should call a judge. One obviously is if the other guy seems to be cheater McCheater pants. And don't, of course, call a judge first time, say, "Hey, can I see your card?"
Right.
Because it will probably say right on it the thing that he has done that you think is cheating. It probably says it right on the damn card.
It's
but,
better to just say at that point,
Yeah.
"Oh, really? What does your card say?"
Yeah. But also, do not hesitate to call a judge over if a measurement is really close.
Yeah.
And you personally, especially if it's a measurement you're making, do not hesitate to ask the judge, "Will you make that measurement for me?"
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes that will be the difference between a failed charge and a successful charge.
Question?
It said memory card full on there a minute ago.
That's okay.
That's just
Okay.
the thing. that came up.
I do have a question from Brad on an off-topic thing. So as soon as you guys are done,
Yeah.
Alright.
So, judge calls are great for, what is this distance? Can I put my model here?
Right.
Does this rule interaction actually work like that? A really tight table might call a judge over 3 times.
Okay.
And not a single time is it a rules interaction or anything. It's just, I don't feel comfortable making this charge.
Well,
Can you put it there for
And
me?
the other side of that, of course, is if you've called a judge over to make a measurement, accept the judge's ruling.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Don't
Do
be
not
a bitch
argue.
about
By
it.
the
Don't
way,
argue with the judge.
By the way, I will just say this about that right now. When you are at a tournament, the tournament organizer / judge's rule is law. It actually says in the Steamroller packet, if the judge says something that is blatantly wrong, it goes for the tournament.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether it is correct or not. For that tournament, his rule is law.
All right, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have to end this conversation.
Where are you going?
Just a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. So while we wait for Maelstrom,
what was the
what was
question?
Brad's
the
question?
actual question was on the net deckings thing.
Yes.
Was what about a newer caster? Do you wait to see when the videos come out, or do you just?
That is a really good one.
What do you do with it?
We'll just
I
have
can
to deal
answer
with this.
that question actually really simply. Is I'm playing a Siphon right now, who is a brand new caster. Most people don't.
Not
have
even actually out yet.
Not even out yet, but as soon as we had the rules for him, I started proxying him, and as soon as I had the model, I played him every week. I think the only way to do it is to try to be the first in.
Mm-hmm.
Create your best list. Throw it out there and let it get screwed, and then battle report on it. Especially on your... so what I do is I play Siphon every week that I can. The last couple of weeks I've been playing other lists because I'm getting ready for this tournament, and I wanted to try out Trolls. But I played Siphon for like 4 weeks in a row, and then what I do is I battle report on it on the Cephalix Facebook site. I tell them what I did, what happened, and I let them tear my lists apart. It gives me a basis for other players that are playing Siphon, and it gives me a basis to get feedback for what I'm doing, and I get to be first player in. I can't wait to play my next Siphon list because it's completely different from what I thought it was going to be. When I looked at Siphon the first time, and I just, what we call dojoing them, which is you sit down and you sort of contemplate what you're going to do, and oh, this looks like it'll be a good interaction, it's going to rock. Well, that's not always right.
Yeah.
Because what I learned with Siphon really quick is A, he can't heal his monstrosities. B, he can't give away free charges. C, he's got 7 versus 8 focus. It's a lot harder to balance where that focus is going to go. But that's the way that works. As if it's a new caster, get out and play it because you can be the first in.
Don't wait for other people to go there first. Try everything out. Now, I'm not saying to ignore other information when it comes in.
As soon as somebody else has information, take that, use it.
Yeah, but you should never hesitate with a new caster. I would always suggest jumping in.
That's where the
feet.
fun is. The fun is having the new caster that nobody gets.
Right.
Yet.
Yeah.
Or it goes the same with a new Jack or a new
Critter.
anything.
Even,
yeah,
really.
it's like, oh, this changes everything.
Yeah.
How is it going to change? Don't just worry about what other people are doing.
Yep.
New casters is where that virgin ground is. You could be the next guy that comes up with the miserable meat mountain, which then becomes the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so guys, it's time. It's time for
The Lightning Round!
It's time for the lightning round. 10 of the hardest questions in Moosmachine. Of course, this week we're going to be talking a lot about tournament stuff. Mm-hmm. There might be some gamey questions in here, and of course, the minty fresh question of the week. Starting with question, you guys know the rules. Pretty simple. Buzz in if you know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1. In the 2015 SR scenario, close quarters, how many zones are there?
3.
2.
Sorry.
It's 1.
It's actually 0. There
It's
are no zones.
No
There are
zones.
no zones.
We
in
are
close
so bad at
quarters.
this game.
All right.
I'll just guess.
Hey, I answered a question this week. I'm getting better.
All right. Question number 2. My writing is getting worse. Who will Victor Pendrake work for?
Well, since he's a mercenary, anybody with the most coin?
No.
Oh, not Fluff.
Specifically, which factions will he work for?
I'll make a shot at it. He's going to work for, obviously, Signar. Is Pendrake the one whose parents were beat up by Kador? So I'm going to say Signar, Menoth,
No.
and... Oh, no, wait, Pendrake. He's the fourth.
I'm giving you 5 more seconds.
I'm so horrible at this.
All right.
I have an online answer.
All right.
Signar, Kador, and Rhett.
It is absolutely wrong because remember, he is a minion.
He's a minion.
So he actually works for Circle Trollbloods, and he will work for Signar because he's a Signar partisan.
Yeah.
Good,
All right.
Good, guess, Brad.
Good job.
What is...
Nice job, Brad.
What is Garrett's MAT? AT score.
7.
It's 8.
Damn it.
That's why I get it, because it's so freaking...
8?
It's 8!
That's ridiculous.
I know it
Ow.
is, right? How many inches is in a kill box?
14.
14 inches. That's 1 point for Maelstrom.
I actually
Tonight,
do that.
so far, he is in the lead.
I might argue that because that's not actually a kill box; it's a kill ring.
It's still called a kill box.
He's your tournament organizer, except he's like...
He's the judge, and he gave me
All
a
right,
point.
next question. What does the fuel in a fuel cache do?
Burns.
Free charges and or run slams.
Free charges and runs. All right, we're tied. Maelstrom and Semi-Auto Magic. Question number 6. In the scenario Two Fronts, does it have a kill box?
No.
I'm gonna say
It
yes.
has a kill box, but you're too late.
Because it's a 50% chance and he just eliminated it.
50-50. I'm only giving points out for the right answer.
All right.
All right, for the
Oh, you were 50%
For the
chance.
Legion players out there,
Ah!
what is the defense on a Blighted Nis Archer?
It's a NIS 14.
It's 13.
13.
13 on the Blighted Nis Archer. For the Troll players out there, how many Fury does Calandra have?
Oh god, she's my model. I don't know this.
7.
It is 7. That's
Wow.
2 points
Good
for
guess.
Maelstrom.
I faced Calandra 2 weeks ago.
Yes, Jason.
It's been
Nice.
seared in your
That's
brain.
kind of how
Yeah.
this game is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Eventually you sear things in. How many rounds does a 102-player event go?
Oh my god, 102.
If you have 102 players in an event, this is specifically for PG Semi-Auto Magic. If he gets this
Yeah.
wrong, he loses all of his points.
And Blood and Iron is shut down.
Oh
How many rounds?
no!
12?
No, not 12.
5, 6, 7.
5 more seconds.
I'm gonna say 8.
It's actually 7. It's 7 rounds.
The one
PG license revoked.
The 102 is what threw me because
All right.
96 is the 8.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Minty Fresh question.
Oh
of
no!
the
Jesus.
evening, which was a paragraph long, so I'm going to try to
Encapsulate
it
Yeah,
down.
bring it down.
If I just skipped right to it, we probably could have done the whole thing. What has changed lore-wise about the Desert Hydra since Monster Apocalypse?
Jesus Christ.
Since
Everything?
Monster Apocalypse.
There is something huge that has changed lore-wise about them. Does anybody know what it is?
It's where it comes from.
This is worth 5 points. You could beat Maelstrom. Maelstrom's in the lead.
Drunk?
And that just can't happen.
He drank a whole bottle of wine and 2 beers.
I've got. This is actually a question. Do you mean Monster Apocalypse or do you actually mean the Monster Nomicon?
Monster Apocalypse.
Interesting. I'm gonna say where it comes from.
No.
So in Monster Apocalypse, it came
All
from
right.
Scorn.
Originally, it could grow heads by stealing its siblings' heads after killing them.
Ooh.
Ew.
So it would grab the heads and stick it on themselves and it would grow new heads. Now, it'd grow heads as it ages. That's the difference.
Oh.
So the
So
Minty
they
Fresh
made it
question of
significantly less creepy. Okay.
significantly less creepy, but holy crap, that was the toughest question
Yeah.
ever, which would have been Maelstrom, you are the winner
Woo!
of the trivia
Obviously, you just needed to drink more.
for the
Yeah.
evening. Apparently, we have crushed the death clock. We are 7 minutes over.
Oh, sorry,
the
guys.
worst we've ever done. Sorry, guys. You had to listen to us go on for an extra 7 minutes, but hey, it's tournament stuff. We will get back into this another time. G, before we go,
Final thoughts?
what events are coming up?
Well, there's this thing called Blood and Iron this
Let's
weekend.
sign up. It's
You're
2
not-
days away.
If there's no Greyhound buses near you,
Yeah. Well,
find another way.
no, the come to Blood and Iron. It's amazing. We're gonna have all kinds of great players out. It's a War
And me.
Machine weekend invitational. So the guy who wins or girl who wins the whole thing
Thank you.
is going to get a spot at the War Machine weekend tournament, which is
Big deal.
basically the biggest
That's
War
it,
Machine tournament outside of the WTC.
I can't wait.
And it is
you
going
win
to
it
be
all.
so much fun. There's Iron Arena, there's Speed Machine, there may even be
Painter.
Maelstrom's
something.
birthday.
Iron
Yeah.
Painter, oh my god, Iron! I really hope we're able to stream
Gorex's
because
birthday.
Iron Painter is going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
After that, for those of us in the local meta, as we talked about earlier with the battle boxes, we are going to be starting a Journeyman League. That will start it will officially start on the 14th, but I'm going to let people report on Sunday the 13th
If you
because
are-
one of our stores
If
runs
you're
a
not
Sunday
from
night
our
tournament.
meta, if you're not from our meta,
For shame.
For shame. Join our meta. Move to Ottawa. But also...
Find your PG and yell at them.
And tell them to do a journeyman. It's the best way to learn the game.
Yeah.
But bar none, we've played a journeyman on our podcast. It taught me more about doing stuff than anything else has. It's a great way to learn the game. Great way to get your models painted.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can paint to win a journeyman, as we've seen in the past.
Playing paintbrush it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there are a total of 5 different ways you can take part in Moosmachine. First off, you can find us on Facebook. We try to keep up to date on the news. We try to give you as much information as possible. Other people come to us sometimes for the news. It's random.
You might even find a picture of War Machine playing War Machine.
Yeah, you might. You can find us on Twitch, of course, where if you can watch the show live every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Please tune in, join the chat, be part of it. Meet Brad, because he's awesome. Next.
Brad's the dude tonight.
If you missed watching us on Twitch, you can catch the podcast videos later on YouTube. Just look up our channel. Just look up Moosmachine on YouTube. You'll find us. You can also listen to the podcast on SoundCloud. If you go to our Facebook page, handy because now you've got 2 different. You're like LinkedIn. We don't have a LinkedIn page.
No, we don't.
That's coming.
We should totally do a link to this.
Why don't we have a LinkedIn page?
Our skill is
nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
So you can go to SoundCloud. You can actually download the podcast and listen to them because I get them up. I should have it up tomorrow morning by 9 o'clock. Last but not least, you can find us on iTunes. That is all 5 different goddamn ways you can participate in whatever this thing is. And ladies and gentlemen, it's dice down time. It's good night from me.
Maelstrom.
I am the Myth Gorax.
I am the Maelstrom.
And I am the Semi-Auto Magic.
And that's the wife. Good night, guys.
Good night. Brad says good night, too.
Night, Brad.
Night, Brad. This has been the episode all about Brad.
Brad versus Moosmachine.
That is totally tonight's.
All right, give it a couple seconds and then you can shut down the stream.
Thanks, everybody.
I had to pee.
Thanks for joining us. There's a downstairs bathroom.
The silver...
The rig?
What is it?
The ring of power.
The box is over there.
We had a question about that. I'm not going to interrupt the show for that, but I will totally take your answer right after the podcast.
The ring of power.
It's the ring of vague elasticity.
And boing, 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 boing.
It is called
He's reminding me right now. The mic
It is called a Radius 2 shock mount. It is specifically designed for the Yeti.
Or Drunk Jason.
Or a Drunk Jason.
Jason, don't play with that. It's worth more than you are.
It
True.
Is the damn
That's
thing.
A fact.
It's like
that's a
$100
fact
for that damn thing. It's like 50% of the price of the mic, but if you are using a Yeti or a Yeti Pro, it is well worth the money.
Right. It's like having sex without wearing a condom with a stranger.
No.
Why would the stranger be wearing a condom?
No, not the stranger. You. You don't have sex with a stranger without wearing a condom.
That is good life advice.
You've had way too much booze.
No, it's a